Hello and welcome to the channel, and welcome to the first video of 2026. And today we are finally coming back to a series I started last year, just around the time that we got the Maximum Spider-Man. So this is the next installment of the Maximize Your Action Figure. Well, in this case, maximize your black suit Spider-Man. And in today's video, we are looking at how I maximized, but also Todd McFarlaneized the previously released retro carded black suit Spider-Man. So again, don't confuse this one with the most recent release, which is in the black suit, which is the Secret Wars. We'll look into that when we do some comparisons later on. But this is the retro carded black suit Spider-Man that came, I believe it still used the Renew Your Vows body type mold. So there is a rumored black suit Maximum series that will use the same body type that we got for the Maximum Spider-Man. But if you want to get ahead of the game, so to speak, and maximize your action figure that you already own to have it be more like a maximized version and as well a Todd McFarlane version of the black suit Spider-Man, this is the video for you. A few of the things that you're going to need for this video: obviously, mainly the retro carded black suit Spider-Man. So that figure came out, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, so it's quite old. I don't know if it's that expensive in the secondary market, but if you can find one for cheap used, even better. I bought this brand new. I actually have two, so we're gonna have to compare this version with the stock version. So you're gonna need that. You're gonna need the black suited version that came with the Pizza Spidey body mold in the 2-pack that came with Kraven the Hunter, for two reasons. One, the head sculpt that is currently on the figure, and for the lower legs. So in this version, we're going to sacrifice a couple of things, well, just mainly one thing, for this figure. The original release of the black suit, or the retro carded figure, had swivel lower legs, so a calf cut. The black suit version that came in the 2-pack with Kraven the Hunter, which uses the Pizza Spidey mold, does not have the calf cut. Now, if you're bold enough, you can try and add that articulation yourself. There are plenty of videos online of people that have modded their figures and have added articulation by adding a screw and having the screw head act as the swivel, and all of that. So there are ways that you can add articulation. I have not done that yet because I don't have I haven't compiled enough of you could say a graveyard of Marvel Legend parts that I can just cut up, especially in black. I mean, obviously you can repaint, but it's better off if you can find of the same color, right? So there are ways that you can add the calf cut swivel to the figure. and that's it. I mean, that's the main ingredients that you're going to need to make this custom. So now we're going to talk about customization, and we did do some slight modifications. And let me get into a better position so that you can see. So I've got them in this standard pose right now because I want to do a comparison, and I'm going to post up an image. Let me actually just move this here slightly, because I'm going to put an image right here on the right side as a comparison. So I'm going to use a panel from one of the issues of Spider-Man from the early 90s that McFarlane drew, that has Spider-Man in the black suit. And proportion wise, one of the things that has always bugged me for Marvel Legends is the size of the lower legs, or the calves, you know, from the knee down, from the knee to the foot, obviously. The way they proportion their figures looks really odd. So for instance, if we bring in the standard stock figure, you can see the difference in the lower legs, right? So the ones that the reason I gave my custom the slimmer lower legs is when I post the image here of the source image from the McFarlane drawing, you'll see that his Spider-Man has very bulky upper body, pretty big bulky thighs, and then the shins down to the feet are really tiny. By comparison, they're not small like dainty, but by comparison to the rest of the body, they look a little smaller. One of the things that I even looked into doing was giving him the feet from one of the female action figures, but the feet were just way too small, and the figure looked really funny. But one of the things that I did do on this figure is cut, trimmed, and trimmed the feet. So we'll get to that in just one second. So we're going to start from top to bottom. Okay, so let me get in a little closer. We're gonna start with the head, and this is a customization or whatever that you really may not need to do, but I felt I had to do it just for accuracy's sake, you could say. But it's repainting the eyes. So as you can see, you can still see the mold line above the eye right here, or the tip of the point going upwards and then slanting down towards the nose. You could leave that you know, as the figure, you know, that's how the figure comes, right? But I took it upon myself to just repaint that top edge of the eye black, because the shape of the eyes that McFarlane drew are very particular, and you could even still, this isn't 100% spot on. Ideally, there should be like a point going towards the nose, and then a hook, and then the inner portion of the shape of the eye is a little more thinner than this. So I should have probably gone and done the line like about the inch of the width of my thumbnail. My thumbnail, and just trimmed down the white and added a little more black on the inside of the eye, of the shape of the eye, excuse me, and have it a little more tapered, right? But this is pretty much the shape of the eyes that McFarlane drew on his Spider-Man. And the reason you want, then that's the reason why you want this head sculpt from the Kraven the Hunter 2-pack, because the one that comes standard on this figure, which I believe is this one, right, the eyes are not 100% correct. So that's why you want the Kraven the Hunter 2-pack for the head sculpt, which has that McFarlane style, almost what do you call it, light bulb shape with no nose for the front of the mask, and very egg shaped as well, you know. So that's why you want that head sculpt for this version of Spider-Man. The other thing that I did to modify the figure, I'm gonna talk about the hips, but let me talk about the shoulders real quick. So the butterfly, I'm 100% sure I did not modify, because the range on the figure is really well, and it works the same way on the one that I have stock. So I don't remember if I did the mod for the shoulders, because again, let's see how this works. So yeah, I think you don't need to do the modification on the shoulders on this one. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about, you just want to heat this shoulder, pop off the arm, and remove the mushroom, the tip of the mushroom peg that extends inwards towards the this part of the butterfly. You just want to remove part of the tip so that the range on the inside isn't bumping. The tip isn't bumping on the inside of the molding on the inside of the chest. There's like a rail, like a thin rail that the swivel goes through, but sometimes so there's like a thin rail, and then the tip of the mushroom for the shoulder, you know, glides through it, but sometimes it gets caught, and that's what impedes the full range of the butterfly. So what many of us have been doing on other figures is cut the tip of the mushroom peg that goes in from the shoulder, and then you get the free motion of the butterfly. But like I said, I'm pretty sure I did not do that on this figure. What I did do though is fix something on the shoulder that I already done on the stock figure, but I can show you with the most recent version of the Secret Wars black suit. So let me bring that one in. So you can see here, there's a sharp cut for the shoulder right there. You can see this. There's a sharp cut on the mold of the shoulder. So when you go upwards into the T-pose, that part tends to bump into the neck portion in the clavicle area right here, and it bumps, and you either have to dig in and have it tuck underneath in order for you to get the T-pose, and even then you can see me struggling and it won't give you the full T-pose. So what I did on this figure is I just shaved it down. You can see right there how I trimmed it down, that portion of the part of the shoulder that pops out, and now it's all smooth, and you can go with the T-pose with no effort, no trouble at all. So there's that. The torso mod, I did do a slight torso mod to where I opened up the cavity for the ball joint to get a little more range going forward. So I tried to pop it off recently, but I wasn't able to do so. So I don't remember if I was able to pop off the ball joint and separate the chest from the midsection. But you can see here on the stock version, the bend isn't as steep. The next modification that I did is on the hips. So I trimmed off an area of the hip right above the groin, right about this area, and I trimmed at an angle all the way around the hip and down towards his butt at around this area right here. But mainly what you need to make sure is this area right here. When you're using either a Dremel tool, which I recommend, when you Dremel at an angle, not flat. So go in at an angle and trim at an angle, so that this enables you to get a better range going upwards, right? So you can see when I have him standing or in a normal standing pose, you can see there's a slight gap above the hip, between the hip and the portion that I trimmed off. Then we compare that to the stock figure, there isn't that much of a gap. So this, along with the drop down hip, will enable you to get those super high kicks and flexibility on those wild McFarlane style poses. So for the lower legs, we switched them out for the lower legs from the Craven the Hunter 2-pack, because as I mentioned, the lower legs are a little more closer in terms of proportions to the McFarlane drawing that we're using as the source material for our custom. But also, one of the things that it enables you to do is to get a deeper bend at the knee, because the trim, so it enables you to get a better bend at the knee because of the smaller size of the calf, right? So whereas with the stock version and with the thicker calves, the bend of the knee, you can see where the foot is in comparison to this. Way more closer to his behind than the one on the stock version, right? So yeah, that's one of the things that I also managed to trim a bit of the plastic behind of the knee joints. You can see how it's a little crooked on that one. This is a little cleaner on this side, because it did stick out a little bit more because of the bigger calf muscle from the original. So I just had to trim off a bit of the plastic there in the back so that it wouldn't stick out. So there's that. And then finally the feet. So the feet were the stock feet that came with the figure, except that I have or I believe that I'm using the stock feet that came with the I believe I'm using the stock feet that came with the the Spider-Man, of course the Spider-Man, the Craven the Hunter 2-pack. But I trimmed the feet down to the size to be a little less long and not so wide, so he doesn't have the duck feet anymore. It still has some remnants of it. I could probably still trim a little bit more of the inside, so the feet definitely don't look so ridiculous in terms of the size. And one other thing that I modded is the for the toe tilt. I trimmed off part of the plastic here at the top, so you can see there's a slight gap between the mold here of the ankle and the top of the foot. Normally it would be something like this, right? But instead I just cut off a part of the top of the arch here, and now you can have an even bigger bend of the foot going upwards. And again, all of that enables you to get a super tight crouching pose. So another mod that I could do is add the toe tilt, like I did on the first installment that we did of the Maximize Your Spider-Man from the Spider-Verse movie, Spider-Man, where I added the toe tilt. Right, so if you want to know how to add the toe tilt, you can watch that video. But we can do the same on this one if we wanted to. And again, just for comparisons for different types of the black suits and how it looks, we're gonna bring in the most recent one, which was the Secret Wars. What I like about the Secret Wars is the size of the thighs. I don't like the thing is that the musculature on this one right here on the upper thighs looks a little like loaves of bread. I don't know who, somebody hasn't looked at a anatomy book, or they overcomplicated the anatomy, whereas on this one it's a little more simplified and smoother, a little more comic booky. And I actually prefer these legs. I would have probably used these legs in conjunction with these lower legs, but this is now using pinless technology, and to do the conversion would need a lot of work. We'll probably maximize this version next. And again, comparing with this time the Maximum Spider-Man. So the Maximum Spider-Man, proportionally, of course, is supposed to be a close approximation of the McFarlane style Batman, the McFarlane style Spider-Man. Big upper body, good beefy thighs, but they ruined the lower legs. They gave them the thicker calves, right? They gave them the thicker calves, and even though, of course, the articulation is out of the charts for this figure, it's still the figure, body-wise, it could have been better if they had just trimmed down the size of the back of the calf a little bit. Just a little bit. It didn't need to be that thick. And it's a problem with most Marvel Legends figures, that the calves are as thick and big as the thighs. And not all characters have those type of proportions, you know. So this is the Kraven the Hunter 2-pack, which has new lower legs that I had to get from another figure, but these are, you can see some red spots there because the lower legs were red. I had to repaint them, but I mean, I wasn't even gonna keep this figure, on display. Once I removed the lower legs and gave them to this guy, I was going to retire this figure, but I decided against it and just revive him, so to speak, and just had to find some fodder figure to put him back together. So there he is. And you can see, so in terms of like preference, I definitely like the retro body version best, because the pizza Spidey mold is just too thin, so for my taste. Maybe for some certain interpretations of Peter Parker, but mostly, you know, I think the best, like, you know, the best interpretation that you can have if you don't want a super muscly and a super thin Peter is the Amazing Fantasy 15 body, this one. So yeah, you know, so that's it. That's basically it. That's all you're gonna need for this custom to maximize your retro carded Spider-Man and make him a little more posable and a little more closer to a McFarlane type uh, style, right? And let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.